Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
For any students to see the pictures.
Offender Hitlist, who worked at Adams Elementary, believe there are any other victims, but they are in county jail. He's facing felony charges that include she became the victim of sex.
Smile sharp as a hidden blade, calling it special attention till the kid walks out, hollow and gray. You shake hands with the principal, pose clean for the yearbook frame, but every compliment, every secret text is a step in your little game. Leave the kids alone, you don't touch what isn't yours. Predator in plain clothes, hiding behind those doors. Judges slap your wrist, then you're free to roam again. See ya, trouble. Should've lost your life to the pen. Jurors see the trembling hands, hear a voice that can barely speak. You call it bad decision once, they call it a stolen week. You walk out and you're button up, they walk out with a lifelong scar. You get time served, keep your name, they get told that's just how things are. Leave the kids alone, you don't touch what isn't yours. Slap your wrist, then you're free to roam again. See ya, Shomo. Should've lost your life to the pen. Teacher of the year on a plastic plaque. How many kids did you break like that? Gavel hits soft, you just get back to the comfort you had. Where's the line we swore not to cross? Where's the wait for the lives you cost? We want bars, not a second chance. You don't belong in a classroom glance. Leave the kids alone, you don't touch what isn't yours. Predator in plain clothes, hiding behind those doors. Judges slap your wrist, then you're free to roam again. See ya, Shomo. Should've lost your life to the pen. Lock that door! Throw that kid! You chose hard! We choose the way! Leave the kids alone! Leave the kids alone! See ya! Trouble! Hope you rot in stone.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
Well, police have arrested a man following a criminal harassment investigation over allegations he distributed papers containing sexual and other inappropriate messaging to children at Withrow Park. 45-year-old Andre Chios is facing charges for criminal harassment and breach of probation. Well, police say that they were first contacted by December by parents who reported the man approached their child and then fled the park. Well, police are concerned there may be more victims.
Larry County Sheriff's Office says that they have made an arrest following a months-long investigation involving sexual assault of a minor. Now, detectives were assigned to a case involving a 14-year-old who recently had a baby. Through their investigation, the Special Victims Unit now identifying 47-year-old Miguel Montes as the suspect, the biological father of the child. On Saturday, detectives located and arrested Montes in the city of Lindsay and then booked into the South County Detention Facility.
Powhatan County employee accused of child sex crimes was back in front of a judge today. You're watching 8 News at 4. I'm Eric Phillips.
And I'm Heather Hope. 8 News reporter Mariah Gillette was inside the courtroom. She brings us the latest on this case.
Today, James Babcock waived his right to a trial by jury as he faces 5 counts of indecent acts with a child in a custodial role. That means a judge will solely determine the outcome as opposed to a jury.
You'll remember Babcock served as Powhatan County's emergency management coordinator until the charges were filed back in September. At his last hearing, the Commonwealth claimed in 2017, Babcock formed a relationship with a 15-year-old. Babcock allegedly met that child while working in emergency services and responding to a mental health call for the victim. Babcock has been out on bond since September 12th. In his status hearing today, he appeared with his attorney, who requested more time to find a date for a judge trial. Babcock's attorney said he believed the trial would only take 1 day, but that the Commonwealth had, quote, a number of witnesses. Documents filed in the court show the Commonwealth had Babcock's phone and downloaded its contacts to be used as evidence in the trial.
Today, the judge requested that the defense and Commonwealth attorneys agree on a trial date by November 14th. In Richmond, Mariah Jalad, 8 News.
In Anderson, a man is accused of producing child sex abuse material. Alexander Cabal was arrested on Christmas by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Officials say he produced child sex abuse material. Cabal is charged with sexual exploitation of a minor first degree.
New information tonight after 2 attempted child abductions near a Scranton school. Police say an arrest was made overnight.
Parents in the school district are reacting today, and 2822 News reporter Connor Core has the story.
An arrest has been made in connection with the stolen car and attempted abductions of children near South Scranton Intermediate School Monday. This is the video 2822 News exclusively obtained through security footage. Less than a half-mile away, the stolen car was abandoned behind houses along Cedar Avenue. Police say the Hyundai Elantra is the same car used in the attempted abductions near South Scranton Intermediate School. There was an increased security presence since school got out late Tuesday afternoon. That presence is expected to stay. One parent I spoke with said she took quick action and hopes other parents do the same.
I just wish that more families actually took their kids to and from school, because I know a lot of them walk, and that's very scary. I mean, thankfully we only live across the street, so somebody is always home to pick them up if need be, but some people don't have that.
Scranton School District Supervisor of Safety and Security Kevin Kearney says the response from the school community made his job easier.
And they're a little, chaotic, or and rightfully so, but taking that piece out of it does make, especially law enforcement and our jobs, a lot easier to make sure we can focus on the actual issue. And
the school district has stressed transparency throughout the school year. Many administrators sympathize with parents of the school children.
We talk to our administrators, our teachers, our parents, and I'm a parent myself, so I also understand the concerns that you have when you send children to school, especially when events like this occur. The most important is that we have safety protocols in place, we practice them, and that they work, and we put them in place when things occur.
In Scranton, Connor Core, 2822 News.
We are still waiting to hear back from the Scranton Police Department on exactly who they have in custody. But stick with 2822 News as we bring you the latest details about this story.
The state versus Belisario, Morales, and Mazariegos.
For the past 802 days, 59-year-old Belisario Morales Mazariegos sat in the Chesterfield County Jail awaiting trial. Deputies charged him in October 2023 with sexually assaulting a very young girl.
Mr. Mazariegos did willfully and lewdly commit a lewd or lascivious act upon the body of a child who was 11 years old. He did not penetrate the child in any way, but he did on this child, which was rather disgusting, Your Honor. I would point out that the minor child was aware enough and had her cell phone with her. She actually captured his acts on the cell phone.
Okay. Did you hear what he said?
¿Tú entendiste lo que?
Do you agree with those facts?
¿Estás seguro que tú dices que sí, es verdad?
Pues si dice, da mi favor mío eso, decir que sí.
You need to tell me what he said.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you. Is it in my favor for me to say yes?
Well, if he wants to plead guilty, yeah.
Si tú quieres declararte culpable, sí.
Sí.
With that, Mazariegos pleaded guilty to criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree and faced a 15-year prison sentence. Prosecutors asked for 8 years, and that's what the now convicted child sex abuser got. The victim told investigators and her own mother Mazariegos violated her before, but this time she used Snapchat to collect her own evidence.
Fort Myers Beach, Florida. A Fort Myers man was arrested after being accused of possessing online child sexual abuse material. On December 31st, Michael Vincent Ferguson Jr., a 20-year-old, was arrested on an active felony warrant following an Internet Crimes Against Children's investigation. The investigation started from a cyber tip submitted to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children after an electronic service provider reported that it was suspected that child sexual abuse material was associated with his online account. Investigators reviewed that account and subscriber information as well, which linked back to Ferguson, this chomo right here. And then they conducted a residential search warrant and recovered digital evidence that led to the issuance of the felony warrant. The FMPD received assistance from the United States Marshal Service and arrested Ferguson, and he now faces charges of obscene communication with computer pornography, I hate that word, related to a minor, and multiple counts of possession of obscene material.
31-year-old Beloit man Alexander Stredge will spend 25 years in the Wisconsin prison system, including 15 years behind bars. Stredge sexually assaulted a child in October 2024. Prosecutors say the child's sister walked in on Stredge committing the crime. The suspect later admitted to investigators he had some sexual contact with the child. He pled guilty to second-degree sexual assault of a child in November.
Police say a California man was caught in an undercover operation trying to meet up with a 15-year-old in Estancia. Police say in December, 63-year-old Eric Spoor was in Albuquerque and started chatting online with someone he thought was a 15-year-old girl, but was actually an undercover police officer. According to Estancia police, Spoor started sending sexually explicit messages to the supposed teen and tried to meet up with her at a gas station in Estancia. Once at the gas station, he was arrested. He is now charged with child solicitation and enticement of a child. Spoor was released pending trial, and his attorneys filed a motion to allow him to go back to San Diego while he awaits trial.
Springfield will pay nearly $15 million to victims of alleged sexual abuse at a middle school, the largest such settlement in Massachusetts history. Now, this comes following graphic allegations against a former teacher within Springfield Public Schools.
It's a story we have been covering now for almost 3 years. Western Mass News reporter Matt Price is live in studio getting answers on how the settlement will be paid. Matt.
Yeah, Chris and Amanda, 2 separate settlements as a result of this alleged abuse faced by multiple children. One of them record-breaking here in the Commonwealth. All this coming from alleged sexual abuse of female students at Springfield STEM Middle Academy. And we just learned earlier today the costs will be covered by the school department's budget for the next 2 fiscal years.
The city of Springfield categorically failed in its responsibility to keep these children safe, and the amount of the settlement directly reflects the magnitude of that failure.
A powerful statement coming from an emotional Robert DeTusa, one of the attorneys representing victims and their families of alleged child sex abuse from within Springfield Public Schools. It all stems back to March 2023, when now former Springfield STEM Middle Academy history teacher and athletic coach Robert Gale allegedly groomed, abused, and sexually harassed middle school students on his watch. We want to warn you, some of what's being alleged is disturbing. According to court documents, at least one student reported that Gale rubbed her shoulders, touched her waist, and left a hickey on one of her breasts. In addition, it was brought to the attention of school administrators that Gale drove female students home from volleyball practice, gave them food and gifts, and favored girls over boys. Gale was placed on administrative leave in March of 2023 and was arrested during the summer of that year. Gale faces multiple charges, including aggravated statutory rape of a child, indecent assault and battery of a person 14 or over, and aggravated indecent assault and battery of a person under the age of 14. Attorneys say these allegations involve multiple victims.
What happened to them did not happen because Robert Gale acted in the shadows. What happened to them happened because those people entrusted with the care of our children chose to ignore what was happening right in front of their eyes.
The two civil lawsuits that were filed in early 2025 named Gale, former STEM principal Luis Martinez, who resigned during the investigation, the school district school improvement officer Rhonda Jacobs, and the city of Springfield as defendants. After further mediation, the results of these lawsuits are staggering. The first case settling at $1.8 million, the other $13 million, the largest reported child sexual abuse settlement in the history of Massachusetts.
These amounts reflect the harm done to the two children and their families, and they are also a testament to the strength of the survivors, their families, who had the bravery to speak out, seek justice, and demand accountability.
In a statement sent to Western Mass News, City Solicitor Stephen Bonaconti says in part, the school department has invested significantly in programming and training so that all staff members are more educated on the signs of improper relationships between staff and students and report those concerns to the proper authorities right away, all in the effort of preventing future harm to students. We also asked Bonaconti which part of the budget will cover the settlements and who will be impacted. So far, we have not received an answer to that question. We also have been in touch with Springfield Public Schools. They cannot further comment on the matter at this time. We also tried to get in touch with the office of Mayor Dominic Sarno, but so far we have not heard back. As for Gale, the charges against him are pending. Reporting live in the studio, Matt Price, Western Mass News.
Columbus man is in jail after Opelika police arrested him Monday on child porn charges. Investigators say 33-year-old Don LaBeouf sent explicit messages to someone he thought was a juvenile and planned to meet that person at a local sporting event. He was arrested Monday on multiple warrants, including electronic solicitation and 10 counts of possession of child pornography. LaBeouf was booked into the Lee County Jail. Opelika police say the case is still under investigation. Anyone with information is urged to call detectives or the secret witness hotline at the numbers on your screen.
Been news since we were last on the air at 4. Tonight, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office says it is looking for more possible victims in an investigation involving accusations of sexual assault on a child. Just before 5 tonight, deputies announced that 39-year-old Brandon Duba was arrested last month.
Deputies say he's charged with multiple sexual offenses involving children. They say he was a former gym trainer and coach at Vasa Fitness on Powers in Palmer Park and Elevation Pro Gym near Platt and Shelton. Deputies say that Duba also reportedly taught children's martial arts and bodybuilding classes in the Colorado Springs area for the past 8 years. They say he posted a bond of $250,000. He is due in court tomorrow.
An illegal immigrant from the Flowery Branch area was arrested on Friday, January 2nd, on charges of aggravated child molestation and statutory rape. The Hall County Sheriff's Office said Duvar Adrian de Jome Cuervo, a 22-year-old, was taken into custody during a traffic stop. According to that investigation, Jamon Cuervo met the victim, who was under the age of 16, while working with her at a fast food restaurant in Flowery Branch. They began dating and the relationship turned sexual back in October. The mother of the victim learned of the relationship and reported the crimes to law enforcement on December 17th. DeJome Cuervo remains in the Hall County Jail with no bond. He's a native of Colombia and has been placed on an immigration hold.
Also in Grant County, a man is being held in the county jail without bond for allegations of child grooming and indecent contact, that is, with a child. 58-year-old Darren Freeman was arrested yesterday on warrant, and we're still working to learn more about this case, but jail records show that the alleged incident happened in June of 2020, while the grooming offense allegedly happened last May.
We are getting word of a disturbing court case tonight out of Elkhart. A man is in jail after investigators say he molested a family member.
The victim is a girl who says this has been happening for about 4 years. We're not identifying her further to, of course, protect her identity. John Henderson is in the Elkhart County Jail on 3 charges of child molestation and 1 charge of incest. The victim told police this happened multiple times when he would drive her around her home.
Yeah, she said he'd call the rides. They're secret. This is according to court paperwork. Again, not identifying the person involved here. We want to make it clear. Henderson denies these claims. According to the charging paperwork, the accusations have been corroborated by independent observations and, quote, further investigation by officers. One detective says they believe the info is reliable and credible. We're working to learn more about a court date.
Developing right now, the former CEO of Evolve Bank pleaded guilty to child pornography charges. The FBI arrested Bob Hartheimer at the bank headquarters in Memphis last October. Agents say they posed as a 15-year-old boy on a dating app called Grindr, and they exchanged messages with Hartheimer, and he agreed to meet them. Hartheimer could face 15 to 30 years in prison for attempting to produce child porn and 10 to life on coercion and enticement. Prior qualifying convictions could expose him to a life sentence. He'll be sentenced on April 3rd. Hartheimer's attorney tells Action News 5, quote, Mr. Hartheimer is hopeful that his sentence reflects not only a reasonable penalty for his regrettable act, but also his exemplary professional life and dedication to his friends and family, close quote.
The moment that guilty verdict came down, you could see an array of emotions on everyone's faces and hear sighs of relief. One woman sitting right next to me instinctually hugged her child with tears in her eyes. After 2 to 4 years, these families got the justice they were waiting on.
In the matter of State of Washington versus Jordan Roy Henderson.
Former elementary school teacher Jordan Henderson showed little emotion as the judge read guilty 12 times for child molestation. Jurors acquitted him on 1 count.
Well, he's upset. He's got himself and his wife and all his family is supportive of him.
Every seat was filled. In the front were about a dozen family members and supporters from the church where Henderson served as the deacon and where his father was the pastor. In the back sat the victims' families. Both sides shouted as he was taken away in handcuffs.
I love you, Jordan. Proud of you, Jordan. No, go to hell, Jordan Henderson.
I forgive you.
No, man. Rock.
Henderson taught 4th and 5th graders at Evergreen Elementary for nearly a decade before being placed on administrative leave in February 2024. He resigned in July, 3 months after his arrest. Prosecutors say he molested 4 girls between 2022 and 2024 at school. Now he faces a potential life sentence in prison.
I think justice was served today.
The prosecutor says all 4 victims' testimonies were instrumental in the case.
They came across as very authentic, in my opinion. Their emotion, the raw emotion on the stand, I think really came through.
The defense attorney says he'll appeal, but acknowledges it won't be easy.
The bigger concern is that the jury found an aggravating factor. So what that does is that there's a sentencing range. This allows the judge to go beyond the sentencing range.
Henderson is due back in court in April for sentencing. Meanwhile, there is a pending civil lawsuit that the victims' families have filed against the school district, alleging it ignored warning signs and failed to protect their kids. Those families did not want to speak on camera today. In Tacoma, I'm Christian Malderas, King 5 News.
A former Greene County pastor is ordered to serve 10 years behind bars for sexually abusing a child and felony embezzlement. A judge handed down that sentence for Rodney Locklear yesterday. Gabby Womack shares more.
After an almost 4-hour hearing, a decision was made. On Monday evening, former pastor of Victory Church in Ruckersville, Rodney Locklear, will spend 10 years in prison after being sentenced on a series of felony and misdemeanor charges involving embezzlement crimes and sexual abuse of a child. In court, the victim told deputies the abuse was the most traumatic experience of her life, leaving her teenage years marked by fear and uncertainty. Her parents also testified that they noticed drastic changes in her behavior, saying she became withdrawn and angry, something they say was never part of her personality before attending the church. Captain Kevin Fried with the Greene County Sheriff's Office was able to retrieve messages the minor had with the Snapchat artificial intelligence bot. In those messages, she asked, "I just don't understand. He has a wife and a kid. He is a pastor too, but it is my fault." And more messages that say, "I hate what you did to me, and I deserve to be in hell for the things you've done." She is now receiving treatment at a care facility. In court, the judge sentencing to a total of 10 years active time. The convictions include 8 counts of felony embezzlement, 2 counts of child endangerment, and 2 counts of misdemeanor sexual abuse against a minor. For the embezzlement, the judge ordered more than $153,000 in restitution. During sentencing, Judge David Barreto called the case disturbing, saying he believed the church may have started with good intentions, but that, quote, lust of the eyes got in the way, unquote. The defendant apologized in court, saying he was sorry for everything that had taken place and prayed for those affected. Gabby Womack, 29 News.
I definitely hope that he is locked away for good, that he's never able to get out to ever do this to another human being.
Tonight, a woman who survived a kidnapping decades ago is speaking out after the recent arrest of Darnell Hairston.
He's a registered sex offender now accused of strangling an 11-year-old boy from St. Johns County, tying him up and holding him captive for days at a wooded campsite. Investigators say Hairston has a long and violent criminal history, and tonight one of his past victims is sharing her story with our Sydney DeShawn.
Heather and Anthony, Amanda Green is 46 and a mother of 3 now, but that day in St. Johns County back in April of 1999 still replays in her mind. She says she's heartbroken to learn another child may have suffered at the hands of the same man.
I think I was 22 at the time. I couldn't imagine being 11 years old.
Yeah.
What this baby is gonna have to go through. Breaks my heart for him.
Amanda Green still remembers the day she was kidnapped by a man she thought she could trust, Darnell Hairston.
I'm not over it. I'm never going to be over it.
She says Hairston was a family friend and had already been convicted of sexually assaulting a child when he targeted her.
I had just had another new baby. I had an 18-month-old baby and a 4-month-old baby. I caught him looking in my window while I was sleeping.
The next day, she says he pretended to offer her groceries, asking her to drive into the woods. There, she says he attacked her and her 2 kids with a stun gun.
I was stuck. Of course, I came back and complied.
She says Hairston forced her to call her mother and warned her not to contact police, but investigators were alerted anyway.
We wound up on a high-speed chase where he drove us off into the woods and left us with the truck, where I somehow was able to find my way out of the wooded area and was rescued by the police.
Court documents show Hairston was arrested in 1999 and charged with 3 counts of kidnapping with a weapon in addition to other charges. But months later, he was deemed incompetent to stand trial and committed to a mental health facility where he stayed until he was deemed competent a couple years later. In 2004, he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of false imprisonment with a weapon and was sentenced to 12 years in prison, but was given credit for time served.
Which I begged them not to do that.
He was released 5 years later in 2009, and she's lived in fear ever since.
I've been scared that he'll come across one of my children and, you know, as they're grown and make me pay the price of telling on him back then.
Investigators say he has a very lengthy arrest history, including sexual battery and assault charges. Now 60 years old and a registered sex offender, Hairston is back behind bars, accused of kidnapping and aggravated child abuse after deputies say he lured an 11-year-old boy into a wooded campsite and held him captive for days.
Getting lured in the woods is like the same exact story almost.
The child was rescued during this traffic stop on New Year's Eve in Flagler County. Sheriff Rick Staley says as this investigation continues, he, quote, wouldn't be surprised to learn there are more victims. Green hopes this time Hairston is never released and that the young boy can heal. Now, Hairston is currently being held at the Flagler County Jail without bond. And within the past hour, we learned the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office is also actively investigating him. If you believe you have been victimized, you are urged to contact your local police department. Heather.
2 Fulton residents were taken into custody Tuesday following an investigation into child sexual abuse. On October of last year, the Callaway County Sheriff's Office investigated a report of sexual abuse involving juvenile children. Then on December 23rd, investigators contacted and arrested 51-year-old Roy Dale Barham, who's not pictured here, also a resident of Fulton, who was a registered sex offender. During the investigation, investigators gathered information which led into another investigation, and then on December 29th, a victim told investigators several incidents that occurred during her childhood while living in Fulton. She stated that when she was just 3 years old, 57-year-old Christina Marie Barham would have her practice oral sex on lollipops and another victim who was just a year older than her. The victim then stated that the events didn't stop until she was about 7 or 8 years old. She also claimed that Barham allowed her to have a relationship with 48-year-old Thomas Eugene Harris. When the victim was 15 years old, Harris had sex with her at Barham's residence. And then, on December 30th, both Barham and Harris were investigated, interviewed, and Harris admitted to getting parental consent to have sex with the victim. How can you consent? Children can't consent. Well, both sex offenders were booked into the Callaway County Jail and held without bond. And Barham was formally charged with first-degree child molestation and sexual contact with more than one victim less than 14 years old. Harris was formally charged with second-degree statutory rape and second-degree statutory sodomy. Disgusting.
We are following breaking news in Gresham right now, where a gymnastics coach is accused of sexually abusing child athletes. He's facing a list of charges following his arrest over the weekend. According to Gresham Police, 56-year-old Eric Stinson is the director of the Northwest Gymnastics Training Center in Gresham. Officers arrested him on Sunday on a warrant for sexual abuse and sodomy charges. Police say his arrest comes after several former athletes at the training center reported inappropriate sexual behavior by Stinson. Court documents show that he is facing a total of 5 counts involving 2 victims under the age of 14. Gresham police are asking anyone with information about Stinson's behavior to contact them.
Joint effort by multiple law enforcement agencies has busted a suspected child trafficking ring in Johannesburg. 10 half-naked teenage boys have been rescued and a 47-year-old foreign national arrested in the Johannesburg CBD. Let's get further detail.
We learned a man behind bars for allegedly sexually abusing and possessing child sexual abuse material. HPD, the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, and SWAT executed a search warrant at this home you see here on the 2100 block of Mythwood Drive after receiving a tip alleging the suspect had child sexual abuse material inside his home. Police arrested John Higgins without incident. He's charged with sexually abusing a child less than 12 years old, among other charges. He's held in the Madison County Jail on a $293,500 bond.
A matter of if we find you, it's a matter of when.
A stern warning from the Huntsville Police Department to criminals who harm children. Today, HPD's SWAT team arrested a man accused of sexual abuse of a child. John David Higgins is facing several charges tonight after police arrested him at his home this morning. News 19's Kayla Smith joins us in the studio to explain how police built a case against Higgins. Kayla?
Tamika, Huntsville police tell us they received a tip saying John Higgins was abusing a child at home and that he possessed child pornography. That tip kick-started a joint investigation between HPD and the FBI, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, and Madison County Sheriff's Office.
The Huntsville Police Department takes the protection of children very seriously. As you can see, we've had a lot of internet crimes against children cases here recently. It's something that we're going to continue to do.
Once they had gathered enough evidence to determine probable cause, law enforcement obtained a warrant. We're told Higgins was home when police arrived today. Based on what officers found in his home, Higgins has been charged with sexual abuse of a child less than 12 years old, 2 counts of possession of child pornography, and first-degree possession of marijuana. The case is still under investigation. Police say there could be more charges.
In Huntsville, a man is facing several sex crime charges following an investigation. Investigators received a tip about an individual possessing child sex abuse material. The person was identified as the man you see there on your screen, Benjamin Ryan French. After a search of his home and being interviewed by police, he was arrested. French is charged with 10 counts of possession of child pornography. Additional charges are pending.
A Niles man faces a judge after prosecutors allege that he raped several minors over the course of 5 years. Brian Christensen is being held on $500,000 bond. Gina Cadigan takes us through the charges against him.
Enter pleas of not guilty to all counts and all specifications.
The attorney for 41-year-old Brian Christensen spoke for him in court, pleading not guilty to all 15 charges against him. The accusations include 5 counts of rape, 8 counts of gross sexual imposition, and 2 counts of attempted rape. Prosecutors say there are 3 victims in this case. All were between the ages of 9 and 13 when the incidents happened.
He has a very limited to no criminal history. The allegation in this case concerns 3 minor children, all known to him.
No details of the allegations were given in the courtroom, but court documents state the alleged crimes happened over the course of 5 years, from April of 2020 to July of 2025. 2 of the charges indicate the victim was impaired either physically or mentally at the time of the alleged incident. Christensen is set to face all of the charges in a jury trial on April 27th. Christensen is still being held behind bars on a $500,000 bond. If he posts that and is let out, he's been ordered to have no contact with all 3 of the victims and their families. With more local news, I'm Gina Cadigan.
Newberry County, South Carolina. The Attorney General there, Alan Wilson, announced Thursday that a Newberry man was arrested on charges connected to the sexual exploitation of a minor. Theodore K. Green Jr., just 19 years old, was taken into custody by Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force with the Newberry County Sheriff's Office. The Attorney General's office also helped in this investigation. Authorities said a cyber tip line report from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children led investigators to Green, who is accused of distributing and possessing files containing child sexual abuse material. Green was arrested on Thursday and charged with 1 count of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. Each felony charge carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison, which we all hope that he gets. See ya, Chomo.
Possessing thousands of child pornography files has been charged. Officials receiving a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. After digging deeper, they found an IP address linked to Joseph Trapp. Law enforcement executed a search warrant and discovered thousands of pictures and videos of children. He was arraigned yesterday in the hospital for medical reasons.
Each device contains its own independent set of images and videos of child pornography. The number eventually was 7,000 images in total, 80,000 videos, a disturbing set of facts, a crime that exploits the most vulnerable of our community, which is minor children.
Now, Trapp, who's a registered sex offender, has 2 previous offenses. In this case, he's facing multiple counts of child sexually abusive material and using a computer to commit a crime. A judge setting his bond at $1 million.
Breaking from the First Alert Desk, where we've just learned a retired Air Force major is facing multiple counts of child pornography and sex abuse charges following an arrest out of Leeds. Daniel Martin Brown was arrested by police. Right now he's facing 1 count of sexual abuse of a child who was less than 12 years old. He's also charged with 10 counts of producing porn with a minor and 10 counts of possessing child pornography with intent to distribute. Leeds Police Chief Paul Irwin saying detectives recovered those video and images and tells us, quote, he's a sick individual and I'm glad he's in jail. Now we need to make sure that he's punished, end quote. Chief Irwin is also telling us they may pursue charges with the U.S. Attorney's Office for federal offenses. From the First Alert Desk, I'm Taylor Pollock.
Now we are also following a sex offender arrest also out of Lenoir County. The arrest occurred, though, in New Hanover County. Now, Lenoir County deputies say 25-year-old Peyton Collins was arrested in New Hanover County on Saturday. Collins was taken into custody by Cure Beach police after he did not report an address change as required by law. Now, his arrest comes after an investigation by the Lenoir County Sheriff's Office that began in October. Collins was added to the sex offender registry after he was convicted in 2022 of having indecent liberties with a 14-year-old in 2020. Collins was charged with failure to notify change of address and is being held in the New Hanover County Jail. He's facing a $3,000 bond.
For a Massachusetts gym teacher facing child porn charges after being arrested by state police.
60-year-old Stephen McDonough of Waltham, a gym teacher at several schools in the area, has been arrested for the possession and distribution of child porn. Authorities say they received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in late August, leading to a search of McDonough's home 1 week ago. Evidence was found in the home and on his phone, prompting the arrest. McDonough is being held on $25,000 bail and isn't allowed to be in contact with anyone under 18.
Breaking on the 4 grand jury indicting a man in Tuscaloosa on charges related to sexually abusing a child. His name is Anthony Fluker. He was just arrested on those charges. Fluker is accused of sexual conduct with a child 12 years or younger and sodomy first degree. Those charges stem from an incident investigators say happened in January 2023. He was officially indicted in April.
School employee is accused of incest and sexual assault. This is 35-year-old John Michael Bashia. According to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, he was arrested after investigators received a tip that he was in possession of child sexual exploitation material. Deputies say their investigation then led to additional evidence and more charges. Bashia has been employed as a kitchen manager at Mountain Valley High School since November. The school district says he's been placed on leave while the investigation continues. He's facing charges of aggravated incest, sexual assault on a child, and sexual exploitation of a child.
We'll head over to Peru, Indiana. A Miami County man was arrested after he was found with thousands of files of child sexual abuse images. This is Ted McBride, and he was charged with 10 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material of a child under 12 years old, which is a Class 5 felony. On April 25th of 24, a cyber tip was reported that multiple CSAM pictures were allegedly downloaded from McBride's device. According to court documents, investigators found, check this out, 52,618 files on his laptop that were flagged as CSAM. McBride reportedly admitted to viewing children as young as 5 years old. Authorities found images of toddlers they believe to be as young as 1 year old, regardless of what he says. Charges were filed in December of last year, and McBride is being held with no bond pending his next court date.
A Raleigh man's accused of abducting a child in Johnston County. Deputies say 19-year-old Phoenix Davis kidnapped a girl at least 4 years younger than him from her legal guardian this morning. Sheriff's office did not release any more information about the incident. He is charged with felony child abduction. He's due in court later this month.
An Eau Claire man accused of using artificial intelligence to create images of child porn entering pleas today before a judge. As we've reported, 42-year-old Anthony Loisel is charged with 4 counts of possession of virtual child porn. Today in Eau Claire County Court, he pleaded not guilty to those charges. According to the criminal complaint, Loisel admitted to using AI applications to make the images in an interview with police. He's scheduled to return to court on April 13th.
A Salem man is going to prison following the latest in a series of public indecency convictions. 28-year-old Amir Rashid Dunn has been sentenced to 4 years in prison in a felony public indecency case from September of 2025. Court records say that Dunn exposed himself to employees at a Pizza Hut in West Salem. He later pleaded guilty. A Polk County judge also ordered 1 year of post-prison supervision, and Dunn must register as a sex offender and complete mental health and sex offender treatment. And this was not his first offense. Prosecutors say this is Dunn's 5th public indecency conviction since 2022.
And a safety alert tonight. Authorities in Thomas County asking for your help. They are searching for an absconded sex offender, Kenneth Laverne Samuel. Samuel is wanted on multiple warrants, including failure to register as a sex offender. He's described as 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighs approximately 170 pounds. If you have any information, please contact the Thomas County Sheriff's Office, and we do have that number on our website, WALB.com.
A man convicted of possessing child sexual abuse material will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Gary Greenwell has been sentenced to 200 years in prison. He pleaded guilty to 10 counts of possessing those materials last October. Investigators say he was also previously convicted of molestation in Michigan in 2017.
New at noon, a Mason County man was sentenced to 2 years in prison for possession of child porn. Scott A. Edwards of Mason was sentenced to 2 years in prison plus 20 years of supervised release. He was convicted of distribution and exhibiting material depicting minors engaged in sexual explicit conduct.
We'll head down to Evans, Georgia. A Columbia County man is behind bars for attempting to meet whom he thought was an 11-year-old for sex. Reports say that Max Samuel French went to the Evans Walmart between about 9:45 and 10:15 on January 6th to meet the victim. Instead, he met up with the infamous predator poachers. French is being charged with criminal attempt to commit child molestation. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office was notified of French's alleged actions as soon as the group had enough evidence and French's admission of guilt. The group was also able to provide copies and screenshots to law enforcement between the suspect and the decoy for proof. French currently remains in the Columbia County Jail with no bond. See ya, Chomo.
A Medford firefighter has been charged following a child exploitation sting. Hugh McElhenney appeared in court this morning where a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. The Middlesex District Attorney's Office says he was communicating with and sending images to someone he thought was a girl under 15 years old.
A Mobile man pleading guilty today to sexual abuse charges. Adam Rink was scheduled to go on trial today. Law enforcement officers placing him in handcuffs inside that courtroom after the judge denied a request to allow him to be on house arrest until sentencing. Rink entering a blind plea to first-degree sodomy, first-degree sexual abuse, and sexual abuse of a child younger than 12. That means prosecutors made no promises about a sentencing recommendation. At a previous hearing, investigators testified Rink had a torture room inside his home and strapped a child to a wall. Mobile District Attorney saying prosecutors will be seeking a long sentence.
Resolving by blind plea is as good as a conviction, so we're going to make a pretty stout recommendation on it.
The defense attorney declining to comment after that hearing. A sentencing is scheduled for February 11th. The judge asked prosecutors to submit their recommendations 2 weeks before that. Rink also has charges pending in Oregon. Mobile homicide detective in court today on charges of child sex abuse in Baldwin County.
Jacob Clifford has been out of jail on $500,000 bond since December 19th. The prosecution's only witness was questioned for more than 2 hours.
Our Hal Sherrick listening to that testimony from witness and 3 others and has the latest reporting.
30-year-old Jacob Clifford arrived at the Baldwin County Courthouse with his family Tuesday. The Mobile PD homicide detective has been on administrative leave from the department and out on bond since his arrest last month. He's charged with 4 counts of sex abuse of a child less than 12 and 3 counts of sodomy. Investigators say the crimes happened inside a Daphne home between October and November of last year, and court documents show Clifford knew the alleged victim. As the preliminary hearing got underway, Judge Ashley Siebert cleared the courtroom of all testifying witnesses. Lead investigator with the Daphne Police Department, Justin Williams, took the stand for the prosecution, spending 2.5 hours testifying. He described the chain of events from the time the alleged victim reported abuse to an adult through the forensic interview process with the Child Advocacy Center. Williams said Clifford voluntarily handed over his cell phones, and then a search warrant for the residence where the alleged crimes happened turned up additional corroborating evidence to support their victim's story. Defense attorney Christine Hernandez spent a lot of time in cross-examination questioning why other elements, such as an Alexa, Ring doorbell footage, and interactive gaming consoles weren't looked at. She says without a digital timeline, which they could provide, there's nothing but the child's statements to put Clifford inside the home.
In the search warrant itself, it specifically, as you heard in the hearing, it specifically asked for all electronic devices. And this is a smart home. And the witnesses testified that this was a smart home. They knew what a smart home was, and that they had a search warrant to go in and collect all of that, and then did not access what they collected to verify times, dates, and information.
If I understand the argument, I think she's trying to say he was not home.
but I don't think the evidence that they're pointing to actually proves that. It's hard to believe that he was not home during the entire duration.
Baldwin County Assistant District Attorney Christy Haygood contends that these cases typically hinge upon the statements given by children during these forensic interviews and that they are conducted by professionally licensed counselors. She says the story has stayed consistent and is evidence enough to show probable cause.
We have gotten some preliminary information back, but we still don't have the full picture. We have enough to believe that it happened. We believe that we will continue to find more evidence to support that.
Reporting from Baldwin County, Hal Sherrick, Fox 10 News.
And that preliminary lasted for about 4 hours. The defense has more witnesses to call. The proceedings will continue January 29th at the Foley Satellite Courthouse.
Also in our news at 5, abuse charges have now been filed against a para-educator accused of repeatedly hitting a child with special needs in Jefferson County. Court records show Bria Dame is charged with felony child abuse, and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says she was fired from her position with the school district November 7th, the day the accusations were made. The child's mother says Dame kicked the child several times, pinned him to the ground by stepping on his hand, and struck him with a phone. The sheriff's office says evidence was collected over the month of December before an arrest warrant was issued December 31st, leading to Dame's arrest over the weekend on Saturday.
A 6-year-old man from the Berkshires is in custody after agreeing to meet up with a police officer posing as an underage child. Earlier today, state police detectives carried out a child enticement sting. That's where they caught this man, 61-year-old Scott Clemens of Pittsfield, arriving to meet up with an underage child and took him into custody. While searching his car, officials found a can of Dr. Pepper that was requested, as well as several box cutters. No word yet on when he's set to appear before a judge.
Boise police arresting a 22-year-old Napa man and charging him with sexual abuse of a minor and online child enticement, and they believe there could be more victims. Police say Aiden Salat inappropriately communicated with a 12-year-old from Napa, including sending and soliciting pictures and trying to arrange a meeting. Authorities say he pretended to be a younger person and communicated with girls across multiple platforms. When he was arrested, he was already awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to sexual abuse of a minor back in November. If you know of any additional survivors, contact police.
Report police need your help in finding a convicted sex offender who is once again wanted for alleged crimes targeting children. They're looking for Joseph Little. Detectives began investigating allegations involving 2 children in late November.
They say he has a previous conviction for aggravated rape and has a history of offenses against children. These allegations involve 12 and 13-year-olds. Call police immediately if you know where he is.
A Rochelle sex offender will now spend a year and a half behind bars. 29-year-old Timothy Odell was sentenced to 572 days in jail, followed by 30 months of probation. He was arrested last March after police say he was soliciting a child for sex. His case was put on hold when he entered a mental health treatment facility until he was found fit to stand trial in November. Last month, he pleaded guilty to a 2025 charge of violating the sex offender registry. All other charges were dismissed. Eyewitness News is committed to supporting survivors of sexual abuse. We have a list of resources here in our community. Just go to our website, mystateline.com, and click on the State Line Strong tab.
On top of breaking news in Rowan County, where a teacher is in custody on child pornography charges. This man, Juan Pablo Valencia Chavez, is charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. Salisbury police say a tip led to a months-long investigation. Valencia Chavez worked for the Rowan County School District. Detectives tell us there is no evidence that any students were involved. We've reached out to the school district for comment. They responded just within the last 10 minutes, telling us the district immediately suspended him without pay after learning about the allegations. Now, police are urging anyone with more information in this case to come forward.
A 60-year-old man was arrested in Santa Fe yesterday after police say he offered an 11-year-old girl money to come home with him before attempting to hit her with his truck. According to the arrest warrant, Mark Roybal offered $100 to the young girl after she got off a school bus on a county road south of Espanola. Investigators say she denied him multiple times and called her friend's mom. That's when she says Roybal tried to hit her with his truck. She was able to move out of the way in time. A warrant was issued for his arrest, and yesterday he was found in Santa Fe. Roybal is now facing several charges. They include assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment, and stalking of a child.
One man facing a list of charges after Charleston police say he pulled his pants down at a public park, then assaulted officers who tried to take him into custody. 44-year-old Jerome Curry is charged with indecent exposure and assault on police, among other things. A mugshot has not been made available at this point. Just after 5 yesterday, officers say they got a report of a man lowering his trousers and exposing himself to people in Hampton Park. They have since identified that person as Curry. Officers say he ran when they tried to approach him, then punched, kicked, and spit at them while they tried to detain him. Curry was already on the South Carolina sex offender registry for a prior indecent exposure conviction. He was booked into the Charleston County Jail.
Throughout this past weekend, ROCAN teams offered vital support to the Detron in conducting comprehensive traffic checks within the city limits. During one of these inspections, a routine name check revealed an outstanding arrest warrant for robbery against one individual. Upon checking the digital document to verify the individual's identity, a pornographic video involving a vulnerable person, a child under 14 years old, well under 14 years old, was found. And with that, he was immediately taken to the specialized police station to answer for both the execution of the warrant and the crime he had been caught in there, which was pornography and rape of a vulnerable person. We also noticed in this situation that it was a relative, a possible stepdaughter of his, and the family seemed to already suspect the situation, but all other information regarding the unfolding events will remain with the civil police. But what we realized was that it was someone close to the individual, right? He used that family trust to commit the act. What an outrage, folks, this story is.
A United States soldier in Texas has been arrested and charged in the sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl. Magdaleno Santos Jr., a 19-year-old of Holland, was arrested today following an investigation. The Bell County Sheriff's Department began investigating after they received a report of a sexual assault of a child from the Holland Police Department. Authorities say the suspect was involved in a sexual relationship with the 15-year-old victim during the winter, and Santos, who was stationed at Fort Benning, was interviewed by the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division. After the interview, Bell County Sheriff's investigators were notified that Santos was leaving the Army and returning back to Texas. So when he returned, they were there waiting for him, and he was interviewed by the Sheriff's investigators. The case was then presented to the Bell County District Attorney's Office, who then issued a warrant for Santos' arrest. Then, subsequently, he was booked into the Bell County Jail with a bond set, at a mere $75,000.
And has pleaded guilty to multiple child sex crimes, waiving his right to a trial. 43-year-old Brian Antonio Garcia, indicted in 2024 on 7 counts related to sexual assault and indecency with a minor, charges tied to a 2020 arrest. Garcia will be required to register as a sex offender, and a lifetime no-contact order is now in place between him and the victim. His sentence and facility placement have not yet been determined.
Charleston County man has been arrested on child sexual abuse material charges. That is according to the South Carolina Attorney General's office. Authorities say 42-year-old Alexander Cabell was arrested on December 25th. On one charge connected to sexual exploitation of a minor. Investigators state he produced child sexual abuse material. Cabell faces up to 20 years behind bars.
Hi there, good evening. Happy New Year's Eve. Thanks for joining us tonight. A Fort Scott man charged with child sex crimes made his first court appearance this morning. Michael Shaw requested a public defender. He's charged with sexual exploitation of a child and aggravated indecent solicitation of a child. He remains in the Bourbon County Jail. His bail, $250,000. According to the charging documents, a 14-year-old told authorities Shaw entered the teenager's room in October and persuaded the teen to perform sexual acts. The victim also told them Shaw last week used the victim to create child porn. He was arrested on Christmas night.
Sumner County man charged with 4 counts of child sex crimes 73-year-old Leonard Reinhardt from South Haven is accused of having sexually explicit files of a child under the age of 18. The Sumner County Attorney's Office filing those charges December 29th. Reinhardt was released on a $50,000 bond.
Trial began today for a man accused of child sex crimes in Grayson County. 43-year-old Robert Feist, seen there, arrested 4 years ago on 7 counts of sexual abuse after several alleged victims under the age of 14 came forward with allegations. Jury selection in Feist's trial began this morning.
Breaking news from Virginia Beach now. Police have arrested a man with indecent liberties with a child. At the center of the investigation, 43-year-old David Flagler. Court documents say Flagler is an employee of United Jewish Federation of Tidewater, specifically with Camp JCC as a counselor. The CEO of the Federation says Flagler was immediately suspended and is cooperating with police.
A Charleston man who pleaded guilty to a child sex crime back in November was arrested again for a probation violation involving sexually explicit materials. Warrants show Travis Reed Gay was arrested on December 16th by South Carolina's Department of Probation. Parole and pardon services for 2 violations of his parole, yet he was released from jail the very same day. Live 5's investigative reporter Emily Johnson joins us now live as she continues to follow those charged with child sex crimes throughout the Lowcountry. And Emily, when agents visited Gay in December, what exactly did they find?
Justin, the warrants show that agents discovered Travis Gay violated not 1 but 2 of the sex offender conditions that he agreed to by pleading guilty back in November. One being an open container of alcohol in his bedroom, but more disturbingly, sexually explicit materials. One sex offender condition is to not purchase, possess, or use any sexually stimulating or explicit material or device. An arrest warrant states Gay lied about having anything on his phone that should, quote, not be there. An agent says they found sexually explicit material on the Bumble dating app, Snapchat, and Reddit. Agents say they also found Gay Googling a sex chat website on November 24th, only 10 days after his plea hearing. Gay was previously charged with 6 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of second-degree sexual exploitation in 2023. Court documents state Gay had in a video of an infant being forced to commit sex acts. But on November 10th, Gay pled down to 1 count and was sentenced to 5 years of sex offender probation, placed on the sex offender registry, and will serve 10 years in prison if he violated that probation. But since his most recent probation violation, Gay has not been sentenced to prison despite the conditions of his plea agreement. Gay was out of the Charleston County Jail the very same day that he was arrested and posted a $15,000 bond. We're working to learn more about why Gay is not currently behind bars. For Live 5 Investigates, I'm Emily Johnson.
AI bot Grok has generated child sexual abuse material. I'm Grace, a journalist who covers tech, youth, and Melbourne news. So on X, users have been able to generate sexual content of other users with a few small prompts. Most of the targets were women, some of them were children. Just before Christmas, an edit button was added to Grok that allowed users to modify any photo on X, including removing people's clothes. No consent. Reuters identified 102 requests in a 10-minute period of people asking Grok to put people into bikinis. Again, most targets young women. Grok complied with at least 21 of these requests. An apparent apology from Grok has been widely reshared, but in another post, Grok seemed deeply unbothered by this. Now, something to remember is that when it comes to the voice and the tone of AI bots, Grok is famously sarcastic, sardonic, satirical, black humor. But this feels like a really timely reminder that bots don't get humor. They generate text predicting what's most likely to come next. They use statistical patterns, data training. They don't actually have humor qualities. They can't read the room like people can. So what's interesting and what we can learn from this is that Grok has clearly been programmed for entertainment. Its boundaries for safety and for fact-checking and for telling the truth have clearly not been robustly tested. In response, governments have launched investigations and they've threatened legal action if X and Musk don't take the appropriate action to remove this child sexual abuse material from the app. But it begs the question, when you are a multi-billionaire, how beholden are you really to the law? To recap, AI is facilitating sexual abuse. The barrier to create sexual abuse material has never been lower, and at the time of filming, Musk and X have not faced any meaningful consequences for this absolute disaster.
Welcome to the hit list. You can't escape. Your face on the news. Don't mess with fate. Locked up in prison. Wood chipper running hot. Police on a mission. Hope you don't get caught. Silver bracelets tight. Get arrested tonight. In this endless fight. Can't hide from the light. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay.
Say, excuse me, Judge. How many times do I need to show these videos until people become aware?
Multiple times.
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.
Now get in there!